Good afternoon and welcome, and thank you to the members of our community who have joined us here today. I'd like to acknowledge the First Nation peoples and their ongoing contribution to the custodianship of this land. With us here today are Deputy Mayor Mark Kellam, General Manager Gary Wallace, Corporate Services Director Lynette Safranek, Director of Technical Services Chris Schumacher, Director of Planning and Development Paul Sullivan, Councillor Mick McKechnie and Sharon Swanell. The way we speak with the community about the 2020-21 operational plan, delivery plan and associated documents this year has been impacted by COVID restrictions. Due to the current health orders restricting the number of people attending public meetings and strict social distancing requirements, it has been decided to conduct a Zoom session. After this presentation, the link will be posted to Council's webpage and Facebook page, allowing residents to view at any time when the opportunity for public submissions closes. For residents without internet access, the presentation will be available at the Oberon Library. Any questions or queries you may need addressed can be answered by contacting your councillors or the General Manager. This is not the preferred method of consulting with our community. We would much rather do this face-to-face, but we do need to be flexible in these unusual times. I'd now like to introduce to you now the Director of Corporate Services, Lynette Safranek, who will start the presentation. Thank you. Lynette, you are muted.
Good afternoon, everybody. This presentation outlines the draft 2020-21 operational plan currently on public exhibition. Some of the assumptions for the draft 2020-21 operational plan include a forecast total income of approximately $26 million, made up of a rate peg increase of 2.6% on land rates, which is set by the Independent Pricing and Regulatory Tribunal. An increase in the FAG, Financial Assistance Grant, Block Grant and Block Supplementary. A significant increase in capital grants based on all works being completed during 2021, in line with AASB 15. Details of the projects will be discussed later in this presentation. A reduction in investment revenue in accordance with the Reserve Bank of Australia forecast and Council's investment policy. We are also forecasting a decrease in RMS work. They normally set their budget after Council sets theirs. The reduction in road maintenance means that Council will need to find other works funding sources. Any adjustment to this area will be reviewed in the quarterly reviews. Employee salary, wages and superannuation are forecast to increase by 3.5%. This includes the local government award and performance increases. Training expenses have been calculated at 2.5% of total salary and wages cost, which is standard for local government. Fees and charges have a 1.3% CPI increase unless statutory. This draft operational plan will be finalised for the July Ordinary Council meeting, taking into consideration any movement identified, such as additional grant funding being announced during the public exhibition period. Council's Planning and Development Director will outline the waste assumptions.
Thank you, Lynette. It is proposed under the current draft that Council continue to provide the Oberon community with 4 free tip vouchers per assessment, as well as 1 free tip day. The bulky goods collection will continue to be undertaken in the Oberon Township area. It is also proposed under the current draft that Council continue to operate the Black Springs and Burriga transfer stations at their current level. Drawdowns in 2020-21 and 2021-22 are for the planning and construction of a new landfill cell planned at the Oberon Waste Depot. Council's Technical Services Director will now outline the water and sewer assumptions.
Great. Thanks, Paul. This year, in regard to the sewer fund, Council's Council's plans is to continue with the development of a design of the new sewer treatment plant in preparation for its construction. Other undertakings in this area include maintenance work involving Council's sewer reticulation and infrastructure asset upgrades to its water treatment plant and sewage treatment plant, respectively. Capital works and purchases in the water fund are forecast to include and continue infrastructure renewal and operational performance upgrades to optimise water treatment functions. Council's Corporate Services Director will outline the long-term financial plan. Thanks, Lynette.
Thank you. So some of the assumptions for the long-term financial plan include the rates and annual charges. Council's special rate variations ceased in 2019-20. Council has used a flat rate of 2.9%. IPART has been known to drop the rate pegging significantly, like it did several years ago when it was dropped to 1.5 from 2.8. However, at this stage, there is no indication that IPART will do this in the immediate future. This rate will be reviewed each year in line with the IPART ruling. Other revenue, Council is increasing the revenues by 0.05% each year, reaching an increase of 1.75% in 2029-30. Council has increased the projected capital grants in 22-23 by $900,000 for the sewer fund, on the assumption that Oberon will receive state or federal grant funds to construct the new sewer treatment plant. With regards to employee benefits and on-costs, we have used a 3% increase for each year for salary, wages and superannuation for the long-term plan. This is representative of the local government award increase and performance increases for staff. All materials and contracts, such as contractors for roads and cleaning, purchase of fuel, chemicals, utilities, and materials for the maintenance of plants, buildings, cemetery, stock, parks, gardens and grounds, library, etc., each year will increase at 0.05%, reaching once again 1.75% in 2029-30. I'll just outline the performance benchmarks. The operating performance ratio measures Council's achievements in containing operating expenditure with operating revenue, which we continue to achieve a positive result and anticipate this to continue. While we forecast a dip in Council's own source operating revenue for the 2021 due to the amount of external stimulus grant funding, it is forecast a return to above the benchmark in 2021-2022 onwards as grant funding is expected to slow. The water and sewer asset renewal ratio is to assess the rate at which these assets are being renewed relative to the rate that they are depreciating. Council continues to maintain the benchmark and forecast to continue. The infrastructure backlog ratio shows what proportion of the infrastructure backlog is against the total value of Council's infrastructure. Council has met the backlog benchmark with a current level of 1.8%. This was achieved by the introduction of the special rate variation and the local infrastructure renewal scheme low interest loan. I'll now outline the income statement comparisons. As mentioned previously, we are forecasting an increased total income of approximately $26 million, made up of the 2.6% rate peg increase and 1.3% CPI increase on annual fees, an increase in financial assistance grants, block grant and block supplementary, a significant increase in capital grants based on all works being completed during 2020-21 in line with AASB 15. This increase in capital grants will be explained shortly. A reduction in investment revenue in accordance with the Reserve Bank of Australia forecast, as well as the fees and charges are forecast to reduce slightly in 2020-21, predominantly due to the increase in RMS ordered works. Upon reviewing the draft 2021 operational plan placed on public exhibition, it has come to our attention that we overlooked 3 items in the draft 2021 income statement. The draft 2021 operational plan is correct with a forecast deficit of $47,267, with all income and expenditure included throughout the document. The errors were made in the transfer of data from the draft operational plan to the draft income statement. To ensure more transparency, the figures in other expenses have been increased to include expenses that in the past have typically been included in materials and contractors, such as operating leases, debt recovery, legal costs, and audit. This accounts for an increase in other expenses of approximately $613,000 for the proposed 2020-21. However, the materials and contracts have not moved by this amount, as there has been a decrease in RMS expenses and the block grants have increased. Council was endeavouring to show the insurance rebates, and an insurance rebate of $35,715 was not shown in the list of other expenses on the original document. The total expenses equal $14,908,895, which did not show up. The amount of $11,156,842 should be on the line below, as it is operating result before disposal of assets and carryovers. During the development of the draft 2020-21 operational plan, staff identified savings in other expenses, with efficiencies in items such as administration, consultants, debt recovery, and subscriptions to the value of approximately $76,000. Staff will provide a comprehensive comparison table as part of the July report to Council to explain the budget movements from 2019 to 2020. This slide shows the forecast of a substantial operating result. Both the before disposal of carryovers and before capital are as a result of the substantial capital projects anticipated in 2020-21. There is a forecast decrease in net gains from disposal of assets. As most projects have been completed in 2019-2020 financial year, we are forecasting minor carryovers. The increase in transfers from restricted relates predominantly to the sewer treatment plant. Council is looking at a one-off adjustment to address the changes that will affect the 2018-19 balance sheet in relation to the changes to the accounting standards AASB 15 and AASB 1058, as well as changes to the lease recognition under AASB 16 where necessary. These will be addressed during the financial year end and will be available for viewing following audit. Council's Technical Services Director will now outline the projects planned during 2020-21.
Great, thanks, Lynette. Yes, during 2021, there are several large projects that Council will be undertaking. As part of that, the Safety Productivity Program will be undertaken to address safety upgrades such as minor road widening on curves, additional guardrail, bitumen sealing works, signage and line marking to approximately 21 kilometres of the Abercrombie Road between Black Springs and Ganang. Also, fixing country roads will be used on the realignment of Campbell's River Road at Campbell's River, which will create a new road deviation to improve safety. Fixing local roads is another grant which will address the rehabilitation of Campbell's River Road from Swatchfield Road through to Arkstone Road, strengthening the road payment and road safety aspects for motorists and the like. Again, Roads to Recovery, quite a strong funded project again for the 2021 period, will be used for capital construction works on Edith Road, Carwood Road, Losemount Road. The funding source will also be used towards other road capital construction works. The repair program will see upgrade of Edith Road from Titania Road to Butter Factory Lane. Construction works will involve widening, the geometrical realignment of the road for safety improvements, and additional bitumen sealing. Tablelands Way has been included, and we expect that the grant funding to be announced during the 2020-21 financial year. The work will be on Lowesmount Road over a 3-year duration, split over a 3-year duration. Ongoing funding from Transport for New South Wales to facilitate maintenance works on both O'Connell and Duckmullies roads will be forthcoming, such as bitumen reseals, line marking, guardrail, heavy patch repairs, and other road safety improvement works. I will now hand you over to Council's Planning and Development Director to discuss other projects listed for 2021.
Thank you, Chris. So the dog pound will be relocated to the Oberon Waste Depot with the existing building on site fitted out for the purposes of a dog pound and cattery with an ancillary office intended to improve the working conditions the staff working at the depot. Funding has also been received from the New South Wales Government's drought stimulus package for the community hub, combining the library and community centre into the one facility with detailed plans and drawings, planning approvals and construction intended to commence prior to the end of the 2020-21 financial year. I'll now hand over to the General Manager, Gary Wallace.
Thank you, Paul. I'd like to talk about the potential for council in securing a new sports complex that has previously been dealt with. We're continually just seeking funding to secure the development of this new sports precinct. Currently, the New South Wales State Government has committed $2 million to the project, and we're currently looking at further funding opportunities through the federal government process. Board panels have also committed to partner with council in this project, and it is envisaged that a development application on the previously exhibited concept plan will be lodged in the near future to help give our community an opportunity to comment on that proposal. I'd like to hand over to Council's Deputy Mayor now to outline our town improvement projects considered for 2021.
Thank you, General Manager, and good afternoon to everyone who's listening in. The town improvement levy projects are forecast in accordance with the Community Strategic Plan and the delivery program. They form part of the operational plan each year to meet the costs of any works, services, facilities or activities within the Oberon Township area. Firstly, the Common Master Plan is currently being finalised, and once finalised, the projects will utilise the reserve funds within the Common Town Improvement allocation. The Curb and Gutter program is a continuation of the current program on the northern side of Curtis and Earl Streets. And the footpaths and the footpaths around Oberon will continue to be extended and upgraded. Recreation grounds have topsoil put on yearly to regenerate the grounds, and park furniture will be used to purchase new items for the Oberon LGA Parks and Gardens. A beautification program is being developed for the Oberon Township, and Council continues to reserve funds for beautification works, which include treescaping of existing road reserves. A bulky goods collection has already been mentioned, and the collection will take place within the Oberon town area and is funded through the town improvement levy. And funding will be allocated to undertake stage 2 of the recreation ground grandstand upgrade. I'll pass back to Lynette Safranek for the draft statement of revenue.
Thank you. So for the rating year 2020-21, Council has adopted a rating structure which, in complying with the Local Government Act 1993, maintains the equities of the present structure. This chart shows the different rating categories that make up the total rating revenue and how they contribute to the total revenue collected. So you can see here that farmland contribute 47.04%, residential contribute 23.23%, rural residential contribute 16.5%, non-urban provide 4.05%, and business contribute 9.19%, making up the total revenue contributions. It should also be noted that with an average increase of 2.6%, there will be assessments that have a higher than expected increase. These will be as a result of the land value changes through the supplementary listings, that is land transfers, and revaluation of land values from the Valuer General. Whilst putting together the draft 2020-21 operational plan, staff looked for efficiencies as well as other savings, such as no rate peg increase on general rates and town improvement levy for 2021. This was not used as it would not only see an increased deficit, but all other considerations in the operational plan need to remain the same to provide our community with the same standard of services and facilities. In accordance with state government amended regulation, any increase not included in 2020-21 operational plan can be recovered within the next 10 years. We also looked at a reduced increase in general rates and town improvement levy of say 1.5%. Once again, this was not used as it would see an increased deficit. Once again, all other considerations in operational plan need to remain the same to provide our community with the same standard of services and facilities. In accordance with the state government amended regulation, any increase not included in 2021 operational plan can be recovered within the next 10 years. The Oberon Mayor and Councillors are currently 7.71% behind the maximum remuneration allowed by the Tribunal. The draft 2020-21 operational plan currently includes a 2.5% increase to the Mayor and Councillor fees, which would be a total increase of $2,800 across all councillors. Investment interest forecast is very conservative in accordance with the Reserve Bank of Australia forecast. I'll hand over to the Deputy Mayor, who will now discuss possible COVID-19 effects.
COVID-19 was a difficult issue to deal with earlier this year, and it has cost Council a total of about $74,000 since the beginning of March. The next financial year and the effect of COVID is unpredictable, and so the prudent allocation of funds to COVID-19 response is $114,000. Now, that may or may not be enough, and we will be updating that at each quarterly budget review, but I think it is a prudent figure to put in as a provision. And across back to the Mayor to speak about the vision and mission statements.
Thank you. In 2018, Council began consulting with the community to formulate the new strategic plan, which was then adopted. Vision and mission statements were put together by the community and endorsed by Council. We are now looking towards 2021 and beyond, and noting that the CSP is a living document, Council is hearing that perhaps we need to revisit both the vision and mission statements to reflect a changing society. So we once again ask for community input. A vision statement depicts where we want to be in the future, our aspirations and our direction. The New South Wales Government, through the Independent Pricing and Regulatory Tribunal, set the allowable rate increase for councils. The 2021 designated increase has been set at 2.6%. For Oberon, this means an approximate increase in revenue of $114,000. It is interesting to consider that employee wage costs are set under a state award and are forecast to rise by a similar or greater amount. Utility and other external costs have been forecast to rise by the CPI, which for this financial year is 1.3%. Council's general fees and charges are also proposed to increase by 1.3%. Water and sewer rates are proposed to increase by 1.3% also. This ensures these areas of council operations are sustainable. All monies collected through these rates goes directly into the water and sewer funds to ensure plant and delivery levels through these rates are maintained. Cognizant of the difficulties experienced by the community over recent times through drought, fire and COVID, looking for ways to assist and support Oberon residents. One possibility is the option to implement rate relief for the coming financial year. One way to achieve this could be to waive all or part of the recommended 2.6 rate increase, or not pass on the 1.3% increase in fees and charges. Unfortunately, there are ramifications no matter what option for rate relief, if any, is decided upon. Services still have to be delivered to an acceptable level. Staffing levels need to be maintained to deliver those services. As a further option, the Office of Local Government has advised that as a one-off scenario, foregone rates can be recouped by adding the foregone percentage to future increases. Is this ideal? Maybe not. A bit like buy now, pay later. Of course, it may be supported that the designated increase be applied. Please read the options put forward for consideration by staff in the operational plan and delivery program that we're discussing here today, and of which are currently still on exhibition. These documents can be viewed online. Hard copies are available at Council Admin and at the library. Your feedback is greatly appreciated. I will now pass on to the General Manager, Gary Wallace.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My wrap up is the final part of this presentation, and it looks at the where to from here. At the June ordinary meeting, Council resolved to place the current draft on exhibition. That is the plans that has just been discussed and provided to the community today. Further to that resolution, however, Council has requested that staff look at potential savings of up to $166,000 to support the potential for no rate cap increase in the 2021 period. A further stipulation on that has been placed on staff, as savings are not to include the current roads budget. Further constraining this resolution is that water and sewer funds cannot be considered at this time because they're self-sustaining. This in effect minimises the request to look at service levels within the general fund. This could have impact on some of the proposed programs proposed within this draft. Staff will be providing information to Council in this regard during the July ordinary meeting. As the Mayor has indicated, this consultation process is not ideal. However, we continue to seek the support and engagement with our community. Submissions can be provided to Council up until the 13th of July 2020, and I encourage the community to lodge their submission in relation to the draft. Should you wish to speak to anyone relating to this plan, please contact them through the website, through the email address highlighted on the screen, or contact us on 6329 8100. Thank you for your time today. I look forward to the community's ongoing involvement in this process and wish you well. Thank you very much.